The record for world title reigns is Ric Flair at 16. John Cena is technically tied as well, but really no one brings his name up when we discuss the 16-time world champion Ric Flair. No matter how bad the PR gets on Ric Flair, it's never really bad publicity for him being 16-time world champion, for him having this record. Having said that, it still feels blah when you say who has the most world title runs in wrestling? Oh, Ric Flair. It's like, there's probably better options like John Cena or Randy Orton, who has 14 and has been gaining hype that maybe he should beat Cody. So make sure you RKO the like button if you would like to see Randy Orton become a 17-time world champion, or hit the AA on the subscribe button if you would like to see Cena get 17 and we have one of those two be the record holder for world champion wins. All right, I'm going to kick it to my partner now. First, do you think Ric Flair should have the record? And then second, Orton or Cena?
As far as Ric Flair having the record, I agree with you. I think somebody else should have the record. And like outside issues aside, I think that Ric Flair is like highly overrated as a professional wrestler. A lot of his like title reigns are kind of like in that crappy end of WCW era there where they were putting the title on a guy for one night and then switching it back.
Vince Russo.
Yeah, Eric Bischoff. But yeah, for me, I've never been like a big Ric Flair fan. I thought that all of his matches were kind of basic and followed the same formula, and he never really adapted to anything. So I think that there should be somebody else that has the record for the most world titles. Cena's up there, obviously, with the 16 and being a big star. But for me, my pick is Randy Orton. And to me, like Cena has left for Hollywood, which that's fine. But Orton has never he did some WWE movies, but he's never like teased the idea of leaving for Hollywood. He's just a straight up professional wrestler. It's in his blood. He's probably the best third generation wrestler we've ever seen. He's a better in ring performer than John Cena, which I think for somebody being the most world title reigns should be like a great in ring performer and a wrestler. And then looking recently, like he's done more for new talent in the last few years than Cena did. I think he was a big help at getting Matt Riddle over. His match with Gunther for the King of the Ring was great, and I think it was a huge win for Gunther. If they run it back, it's even a bigger win for Gunther. He's helped make Solo look like a monster, where Cena didn't really help Solo at all, I thought. Cena didn't help Austin Theory, and I think that if Orton got with Theory, either as a team or as a feud, would really elevate Austin Theory. And then for me, like JBL always used to say, if you were going to build the perfect professional wrestler, it would be Randy Orton. And I think that holds true. Like if you took Randy Orton, you could put him in any promotion in any time period, and he would end up being a top guy. Even if it was like New Japan now, or like All Japan in the 80s, or the AWA in the 70s, I think Orton could end up being like a main event player there. So all this, and then just like I said, it's in his blood. He's a professional wrestler. I think should be Orton getting the title. And then you mentioned beating Cody. It's like doable that he could win a title here, and that puts him at 15, hold it for a month, and then you could get like two more title reigns in him next year too. It doesn't have to be a lengthy title reign, but he could win one at one pay-per-view and lose it at the next.
Yeah, whenever I was thinking of this question, I saw Orton as a guy that if he beats Cody, when there was a lot of people on a previous episode we had, they were saying, oh, Orton should be the guy that beat Cody. That would give him 15. NXT on CW now, I was like, why not have him send him there, have him win the title at 16, and you can build up his chase for 17, especially with his gimmick of Legend Killer. He's
Yeah,
like, I want to kill the legend of Ric Flair with the titles.
yeah,
I And now that you mentioned all the aspects of him helping the younger talent, because my first pick, the guy I was going to pick was Cena, because he's only one away. I also feel like he is probably the Babe Ruth of WWE. He's a mega star, so every time he does an interview, someone can mention 17-time champion, and that brings in publicity to WWE.
Yeah.
But Orton willing to help the younger talent, Orton never leaving, Orton not reaching the level of Rock, Cena, Austin, Hogan. I feel like this is the way Triple H can say, "Hey, like this is your thing. Like you didn't hit the mainstream, become a mainstream actor, but you were the ultimate professional wrestler, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be in the record book forever now." Like
Yeah.
I never really, to me, when I first thought of this question, it was like, who's the biggest star? Cena. But then I'm like, well, when you mentioned that about helping younger talent, who's the actual greatest professional wrestler
Yeah.
that can get the record? And that's Randy Orton.
That's what I was kind of basing it on is like Cena is a superstar. That's what WWE kind of calls their wrestlers. Where to me, Orton's a professional wrestler, and I feel like a professional wrestler should have the record for the most world title wins. And then as far as helping talent, lately it seems like John Cena thinks that just being in the ring with John Cena is a push for a talent, and then that's all he has to do. Where Orton is going to work to get somebody over. Like he kind of really stepped into the thing with Riddle, and it was kind of like off kilter for Orton. We never really kind of seen him do a lot of like funny stuff like that. So he was like, full send into that, stepped into that. That helped Riddle. And then the stuff with like Gunther, Orton's 40 some years old. He doesn't have to have like a hard hitting banger match with Gunther, but he knows that that's Gunther's style and that benefits Gunther. So he went out there and did that. And that was a great match. I love that match. So,
The other thing when you mentioned that too about Cena and Orton, the younger talent, is look at their career respective. Now it's like the whole idea was Cena was the company man. I remember Ted DiBiase told Orton when he had that hotel incident, he's like, Vince would have gave you Cena stuff, but he can't trust you. And now he matured to the point now where he's like, I'm giving back to the company that gave me everything.
yeah.
He's like, he's not this asshole. He's not this veteran that's like, oh no, that doesn't work for me, brother. Like he's not hitting people with that line at all.
Yeah.
He's working with them, and it seems like finding enjoyment with it. I thought he said he loved the Riddle angle.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like he's like having fun, and it's probably a weight off his shoulders that, he doesn't have pressure on him. You know what I'm saying? To be in this, like, oh, I got to carry the company now. He knows he's like, his role is a veteran and helping younger talent. And it's Cody's recently spoken out about it being a red flag for a veteran to come in and say, "Oh, I just want to help the younger talent." And a lot of people have said that and not done it, like Edge, Jericho, where Orton has just done it. Like he hasn't said anything like that. He's just gone out and done it. And I think he's even helped KO recently. I think his feud with KO or his friendship with KO has benefited both of them.
I also like the idea too that when you're in WWE and you're working there as a wrestler, an up and comer guy, and you see Randy Orton has the record for 17 title wins, you're like, okay, that's who I need to be. And so in the comments, let us know. Do you want Ric Flair and John Cena to just stay tied at 16? Do you want Cena to pass him, or would you like to see Randy Orton surpass both of them and have 17?